Okay, here we have a traditional type of mantel clock. My guess, made about 1920s, oak case on it. No marking on the dial, although I can see from in here, there's a spot here which shows there's a dial underneath, so this is a replacement dial. It says, in the bottom, it says made in the United States of America. I'm wondering if it was an export. Anyway, the case has got a number of cracks. It's really cracked here. It's a oak veneer. Somebody has filled a crack along here. So the case is going to take some work. A number of things that have to be done there. The other side here. Cracked down along here. Again, somebody's not put it back together very well. Veneer is broken up here. We'll have to deal with it. At the back, unusual, there's not a door. It's just kind of a panel. It slides out, has a couple of clips on it to slide inside, and then a little tab that closes it up. Looking inside, pendulum bob, been painted black. Don't know, no name on it. There's a key, double-ended key. Key says made in Germany. It just says Germany on it. And inside, we see this movement. And look, the strange color. No manufacturer's name or markings on it. Looked a bit strange. So take a magnet. It's a steel plate. Definitely one of the steel plated ones. So I'm guessing maybe around 1920. We'll take the movement out and take a look at it. We'll start by taking the hands off the front. Let me see if we've got this on it. Take the thing around. See if I've got it. Okay, it's a typical screwed on nut, but it feels like it's been glued on. Pretty tight. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Coming off. Ooh, oil inside. Oil in the container. Ooh, even oil in the hand. Maybe best just to take this dial off now while we got it here. Screwdriver. One screw missing here. Yeah, screw missing from the dial. Another screw here. Okay. There is a name on the front. And it says, it's a Gilbert. Gilbert, and it has a 19 on it, so I'm guessing it must be 1919. Which I figured about 1920. Looks like we got some worn pivots. A steel plate with brass bushings in it. Lots of grease on it. We'll take it off. Anyway, the dial itself, brass bezel needs replaced. Or cleaned, I mean. Yeah, if we open that up. Yeah. This needs an extra screw there, but I can see why the screw wasn't there. The hole is completely stripped. So we'll clean this all up later. And now what we need to do is to take the movement out. And that entails 4 screws on the inside here. Now let me do that. Let's see what we got here. Is a Gilbert. Kind of thought it might be with that. Steel plates. Remember Ingram did some. I think Sessions made some. Okay, what do we got holding us up here? Okay, there we go. All right. Work this out. Set that down. Let's take a quick look inside here. Screws. A normal gong. Yeah, there's a lot of cracks. A lot of cracks in the case. Looks like there's been some repair on it before. So we'll see what we can do with that later. And hopefully we'll make it, at least make it look good. Alright, here's our movement. Okay, here's the back of the movement. It is a steel, and I'm not sure what the stains are, whether it was originally brass plated or whether that's just rust stains. Some of these bushings are pretty nasty looking. What the heck is that blob? Oh, I'll be darned. That's a piece of solder. Somebody tried closing up the bushing by using solder. Not a good way to do things. So we gotta get this thing apart. Let's flip it over and take a look at the front. Yeah, it's pretty nasty and dirty. Look at some of these things, these pivots, pivot holes. Well, that one looks really ugly. I don't know why that's funny looking, but well, let's take it apart. And one of the first things, of course, we have to do is let the springs down. So I will get my key winder. We'll see what, certainly not going to be that size. Looks like it, that's a number 7. Oh my goodness. 8's too much. I would have thought that would have been a 6. Well, it is a 6. The 6 fits it a little tighter. Okay. Put this on here, and then the way we do this is we, ooh, boy, that's really oily. As we, let me see if I got that in the sights. Here's the I'm going to run this down here a little bit. The click is right here. Winds this way, so I'm going to grab hold of this and push this click out of the way. Oh my goodness. And then we let it down. You just part way. And then I'm going to get, okay, make sure they slip. I'm going to get a spring retainer. Oh, look at it, try to go on there. So let's try this and see how those work. Okay. Then that's get that one. Man, that was, and the oil is just dripping out of this thing. Some of it's dried. Makes little oil clots. Okay, let's see where the the click is way inside. I think I'll reach it from here. Okay, let's put this on. All right, like so. Okay, and now let's see if we can do it this way. We will. Problem is I can't see. Oh, it's terrible. Where's the click? There's the click. Okay, and the click is going to turn. Which way? Oh, man, that thing is frozen. Okay, it turns to the right. Whew, and the oil is unbelievable. Yes, unreal. Okay. Gotta get the oil off of here. Man, that's really greasy and oily. Here we go. Let it slide. Losing the grip. Okay. All right. Those are let down. Excellent. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay. Okay. Take these off. Really, really dirty. Okay. Oh, drop that one. There it is. And this one. And let's see about taking the suspension spring out. It just slipped into the slot. I wonder if this, there we go. Suspension spring is out. Just dirty. And now let's take the time, adjust piece out. And that just has a rod that goes through. Okay. Oh. If that was even working. I'm not right with that. Anyway, well, look at the oil is literally running down the plate. All right, we got another container. Now we can get the anchor out of there anyway. What on earth? Bubbles of oil. I think it'll need cleaned. You see that? Pretty dirty. What's down there? Okay. That's on the front. Okay, now we'll go apart. Oh, still tight. This one here especially. Okay, there we go. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. There we go. Okay, and there's the hammer. And that plate. Pretty nasty looking. And here are our pieces. Okay, let's take the, let's put the movement of the time side in there. Maybe. Boy. Okay, there's the escape wheel. And let's take a look through the, whew, yeah, really cruddy. And here's the third wheel. Fourth wheel. Here is the fifth wheel. Third wheel. If I get that spring off of it. Oh. Man. Okay, and then here's the second wheel. Okay, then we got these. We've got some springs here. Oh, that's weird. Okay, here's the fly. You know, I don't put those in another container. Fly. And chimes. Man, these levers are absolutely wedged. Okay, here's the lift. And the one that catches the warning wheel. Here's the stop. Here's the, that bumps against that lever to stop the strike. My goodness. And the lever that goes to the count wheel. And that's warning wheel. The second wheel. And now we've got the center arbor. What do we got here? Okay. Now the last thing is the spring. Man, that's a little rough. This should just come right out. What on earth? Oh, there's some kind of a ridge around the post. It doesn't want to allow that to get in. Oh, man, look at the oil. Okay. Now let's get our camera down here and start taking a look at some of this stuff. Okay, let's take a look at this front plate. And we just see, yeah, they put brass plugs in, like here. A brass plug, and then drilled through, but they don't center them, so you can't really take that whole brass plug out. Look at the amount of dirt and coagulated oil on that pivot. Now these just have brass inserts. This brass plug. Okay, so they've got, yeah, it's definitely got some work to do to clean these up, and you can see the dirt and the pivots here, dried oil and what have you. So we need to be cleaning, and that says William L. Gilbert, Winstead, Connecticut. And the probably 1919. Okay, and what are we putting these in the ultrasonic? And here's the back plate and the side part. Again, you can see how much dirt there is on all of these pivots. Let's just take a pair of tweezers here to look at some of this. And this one is kind of interesting. It doesn't look like there's anything different about it, but clean that off a little bit. You can see there's a bushing in here, and maybe it was too loose or something. We'll go to the other side. Here we see a blob of solder. So the bushing must have been coming loose or something, and so they decided to solder it in. So it's going to create a little mess. We want to get rid of that solder. And but first thing we're going to do is just put this in the ultrasonic and get all of this stuff cleaned up. And then we can take a look at them. But I also need to take the springs out of take the springs off of here and get the springs completely unwound so they can be properly cleaned. And I'll use my spring winder to do that, but we'll wipe this off first. Okay. I'll lift these springs down. And to do that, flip this one around. Take this off. Put this on here. This spring goes on here. This way. On here. I don't know what I'm showing here. I better look. Okay. And the arbor goes in here. And then we you've got to take that key, that's a number 6, put it in here, and then this will fit in here. Come on, baby. Like so. And then this slides in. Well, it's supposed to slide in. I'm having a hard time getting this thing in. There we go. Okay. Comes the fun part. And I still go ahead and put a glove on, just in case something lets loose. Now we gotta see which way to crank this way. Okay. We'll flip this lever. Crank this up. Until the clamp comes off. We'll flip the lever, and now we let the thing back down. Okay, and that is all the way down, and now we can take this out, take the spring off. The same with the other one. Okay. That's going to go on here. It's going to slide on here. Why are you being so difficult today? Okay. Goes into the key. Pain in the butt. Come on, baby. Okay. Nice and tight. Tighten it up. Get the glove on. Kind of protect things. Then we're going to flip this around, maybe. And we're going to wrong way. Line this up until the spring retainer comes loose. Oh, well, that spring is pretty nasty dry. Oh, you devil. There we go. Alright, and now I'm going to let this back down. Okay, and there we are. Take that out. Boy, that's scary. I'm going to have to put some lubrication on that, I think. Get a rag. Now to take the spring off of here. We want to crank this the opposite of what it, well, that's not the way, it's this way. Okay. Sometimes, oh, with all that oil on there, it's kind of nasty. Can't get her loose. Okay, we'll have to use a, we got a, and let me do a quick check. 1, 2, yeah, spring's still good. Okay, we'll, I want to check, make sure these are the same thickness. Okay, it's about Half a millimeter. Half a mil, so it doesn't matter. They're both the same size springs. So we can clean either one of them. Right, we're going to examine these parts, make sure see how much damage there is. Now, I'll start with these. Okay. I like to look at everything on them. Wipe the excess oil off because I don't want to put all that excess oil into my cleaning solution. And, so we're going to wipe that off. Wipe all this off. And then I look for damage. I usually use this magnifier. And then I put a magnifier on my face. Look through here. And I can look real closely at the teeth. And just see if we have any damage. And this one's looking pretty good. It's just dirty. Very dirty. Okay, and we need to clean all that oil off of every bit of this. I'm going to release that click spring so that I get everything in there. Okay, let's look at the second wheel. Looking at it, just greasy. Very, very dirty. Don't see any damaged teeth. I will wipe off the excess oil. Definitely got to do some, well, that's what, let you see what I'm looking at here. Maybe you can appreciate things a little better. I'm looking through a magnifier, and I'm looking at this wheel that I wiped off. Just dirty. Here's the second wheel. And I think you can see the dirt in that pinion gear. Very grimy. Pivot looks like it's scored a little bit. This one. We'll be polishing those pivots. I don't see any damage. What I'm really interested in are these that have lantern pinions on them. Because sometimes the lantern pinions get to be a mess. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little bit better. Okay. Oops. There you see the lantern pinion. And it looks like it's just dirty. I don't see any bad wear. Very dirty and greasy. Looking at that pivot, I don't know, it doesn't look badly worn. Just dirt in the teeth. I don't see any damage to the teeth. Now let's go with this one. Lantern pinions, deep dirt and oil. Pivot, very dirty. I don't know, I can't tell until I clean them how badly worn they are. That one might be worn just a little bit. I think it's comically shaped. We'll have to grind it down a little bit, get the dirt off all this. And a real important one for tooth damage is the escape gear. And make sure there's nothing here that I can see. I don't see any bad burrs or anything. Lantern pinion. Pivot. Just dirty, doesn't look like it's scored. Same here. Okay, we just gotta wipe them off and clean them. Alright, we'll take a brush and we'll just brush all the stuff out that we can get out. Any loose junk that's on them. So we'll put them in the ultrasonic cleaner. And get as much of the stuff in the lantern pinions as we can. And we'll wipe these off. Okay, and that's about as much as we can get off of it. And we'll go through and do this with each of the gears, the wheels. Try to get all the gunk out we can. Trash out. Like brushing your teeth. Okay, well, there's that one. And we'll do all of these that way. So we'll leave that in there for a while. Okay, we got the run side in. Let's see, it winds this way, so it'll run this way. And I think you can see here. Let's see if we can get that over there a little bit. Watch this pivot right here. See that one wiggling this way. This one wiggling here. That one looks a little bit. But we've got some bushings to do there. Oh yeah, this back one, the main wheel here has to be replaced. You can see the movement there. This one is moving too much. That one's moving a little bit. This one is moving too much. And I guess so we got about half a dozen bushings to do just on the strike side. Okay, before we do any bushings, we've got to polish. Boy, look at the wear on that surface, all grooved up. So we got to turn that down. There's actually a ridge on that edge. Let's look at the other side. Yeah. Bearing surface there is pretty well gouged up, so we need to polish bushings, or polish pivots. Yeah, that's a little better. A little bit better. That's before. Okay, so now all the pivots are polished. And everything's cleaned up. And now we can start bushing. Got the wheels in. We've marked where the worn sides are here. And we've marked where the worn sides are. So we got 2 on this side to replace. 3 on this side to replace. Now these are drilled into inserts, and so the holes are not centered on those inserts. So I'm going to mark those. I'm going to put some dicum, or maybe I'll use a marker, and then I'm going to take these out. I'm going to mark the centers in case these are way off. So anyway, the thing I'm going to do is some of these are sticking up above the surface on the inside, and it makes it difficult to slide pivots in there if there's, like here, there's a rough edge on that pivot hole. You're trying to put those pivots back in the pivot holes. They don't want to slide in there, and it really creates a problem. So I'm going to file these all flat, and then I'm going to chamfer the insides. Actually, it's not going to matter too much, but I'm going to do that anyway, so that if I need to test fit things, I can slide pivots back in there much easier. Okay. The other thing we have to watch out for here is these are all little inserts. These are brass, but they've been plated when these were plated. You can see like this one here, how off center that is. The problem is if we go to drill this out or to ream this out for a bushing to put in here, sometimes this whole thing will come out. If that whole thing comes out, then you've lost the center. To go with some marker, and the ones that I'm going to drill out, I'm going to mark so that I know where the center is, even if this whole thing pops out, and I can put in a bushing. I can refine the center. So there you see, I mark the centers so that if that whole thing falls out, I'll know where the center is by using those lines again. Okay, we're going to start with the strike side number 2 wheel on the front. Right, that's back. Oh, this is front. Okay, this is front. Okay, here's where this goes. And I think you can see here, no question, that there's a bit of play there. That should be no more than moving like this. Like this. And this moves all over. Look at that. That's got to be replaced. Okay. The first thing we do is we find out what size that's got to be. And the pivot size. It looks like we got 1.5, 1.6, 1.6 millimeters. That's got to be the size of the bore of the bushing. So we use a 1.5, and we'll put that, then we'll broach it out. A very small amount. You look how far that's bent over there. See that? That shows how badly worn that is. So we got to replace this bushing. The problem is, right, that's, you see there's an inlay in there. And that's not centered on that inlay. So if I go to use the reamer that I need to take that out, the 3.5 millimeter reamer, I got to ream out that hole. What's going to happen is that could very well, because that's, yeah, it will probably tear out that whole thing, which is not good. So what I've got to do is I've got to make sure I don't lose that center. So I've got to put some layout dye on here and mark the original center in case I lose that. Just put that on there. Okay, now we're going to let that dry and then we'll mark the center where the original center is. Alright. Put it under magnifier. I know that this is the worn side. So I'm looking for center here. I'm going to scratch. Scratch a line that way. And then I'm going to scratch a line this way. Okay, so where those two lines cross is the original center. Alright, now I know that the worn part is up here. The unworn part, I'm going to file out a little bit about the amount that the other side is worn, so that my reamer will, that looks good, reamer will fit. Let's see where we're at now. Go back out here. Now here goes. I'm going to try reaming this out and see what ends up happening. It didn't pop out, it's very thin. But what I did, instead of going with a 3.5 inch reamer, or 3.5 millimeter reamer, I went with the 3 millimeter reamer. And I'm going to install a bushing that is smaller. And then I'll have to do more broaching to get it open. Okay, so now I've got a smaller bushing. It's going to go in there. Try to pound this flat. Hammer. Okay. Looks good. Alright, looks good. Now I'm going to broach that out to fit the pivot. Okay, for this wheel now, both of those have been bushed. And now we just have to smooth broach it out, and that worked very well. So that one is bushed now, and it no longer is going to wobble in its spot. So we'll smooth broach it and go from there. So I need to get a small broach. Let's see. That looks maybe about right. Let's see if that's the right size. That looks good. Okay. We'll put that in a pin vise. And I'm going to put a drop of oil on it. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that in here. And we're going to just smooth broach that. A bit. To give it a little polish. And the same with the other side. And here, and that takes care of one wheel being bushed. And we should then find that's front, that this will run very nicely. Well, maybe. I do not like these steel plated things. Just don't like them. Okay. Alright, there we go. And that spins nicely. Got in shake. That means back and forth. One done. Now we'll just do the same thing with 1, 2 more here. And one more over here on this side, and we'll have the strike side done. And then we'll have to set up the run side, do the same thing as this wheel. And you can see that's how much it's worn. That shouldn't move any more than 4 or 5 degrees. So that's another one got to be replaced, the bushing. Okay, that's bushed, and now you see the difference. That's how much it moves now. Okay, so done on that side, get the other side to do, and then those two will be done. So there's 5 bushings for those 3 gears, those 3 wheels, and they're going to run fine now. I got in shake, and shake, and shake. Everything seems fine. The run side definitely. Look at the wear on that one, and that would be little tiny wear on that one, but we're gonna do it anyway. Gonna do that one, and then the escape wheel, same thing. It's a little loose. If we're going to make this right, we're going to make it right. On the back side of the run side, look at the main wheel. Thing's flopping around like a rat tail in a rain barrel. Okay, number 2. Yeah, it's loose. 3, loose. 4. That's the one with a piece of solder on it. We definitely got to do that. And then the escape wheel. All of them got to be done. There's like 9 bushings we got to do. Just as before, put some layout down the holes. We're going to mark the centers so that if the insert falls out, we'll be able to put a new plug in, blank plug in, and find the center again. In addition, on this one that had the piece of lead on the front, I've used a little device called a preacher. This is got 2 pointed dots on it, screws on it, and this says pivot hole. And what you do is you put that point in the position where the center of the hole is, and then you hit these 2 screws with a hammer, and it usually works much better on those with brass plates. But what it ends up doing, it ends up putting 2 little prick points here and here, so that if I lose this and I want to refine the center, I can put a blank piece of brass in that hole should that fall out. Put the preacher back in to the 2 holes here, and then hit this screw with a hammer, and that will make a dot where the center of that is, and I can drill a new hole. And it's just a little insurance. I'm not quite sure about that whole thing not coming out, so we'll use the preacher on that one. This usually works on bigger movements much better, but don't use it very often. But it's a good way to refine the center on if you've lost a center. So we'll get started on this. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure the pivots on each one of these, but I've got to first polish the pivots on the movement, the run side. All right, let's start with the main wheel. We'll put that in the chuck here, and we will close down the things. Here's our little Tommy bars. And we're going to see. Spin it. Take a course. First thing we've got to do is measure the pivot. .62. The closest size I have to that 1.65 is this 1.5. But if I go to the 1.5, it's got a diameter of 3.5 millimeters. Let's see what that would look like on the hole. There's the hole we'd have to put it in. We'd have to cut that hole out so that this would go in. And put that on here. You can see that that's not going to, if I drill that out, it's not going to leave much of that plug left in there. I'm afraid that plug might just tear right out of there. Let's look at it from the other side. There's the plug in the hole. And if I put that bushing on there, it's pretty close to cutting that whole thing out. So I need something that has an outside diameter a little smaller. Here I have an outside diameter instead of 3.5 millimeters. I've got the outside diameter of 3 millimeters. The bore is only 1.25 millimeters. So that's going to require more broaching. You can see that that leaves a larger amount of the original plug around the outside of the bushing. Quite a bit better and less likely that it's going to be pulled out of there. So we're going to put that one in instead. How does it compare to the other one? There's the 3.5 millimeter outside diameter on the left, and a 3.0 outside diameter on the right. The one on the left we would have to broach out only 0.15 millimeters. One on the right we're going to have to broach out the whole to 1.25 to 1.65, about 0.4 of a millimeter. So we're going to use the smaller one. And as before, we're going to have to use a file to file out the unworn side, an amount equal to the worn side, so that our reamer will center. That looks good. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to ream out that hole and hope it stays in. And I think it did. It did. And you can now see, let's bring this over here. Okay. You can see the amount of that's left. And we can now put in the, okay, and there's the bushing installed. Now we've got to broach out that hole to fit the fit the pivot. Okay, so this front and this is front. So this is the side that's got to go in there. So we're going to start by using a broach, cutting broach this way. Quite a bit of broaching we have to do. Okay, let's see where we're at here. No, not quite. Where we're at now. Very, very close. Let's go do a little bit from the other side. Look in the camera and see where we're at. Almost there. Okay, let's see where we're at. There we go. And there's our fit. And then we can smooth broach that, and that will be done. Alright, so we're going to polish the pivot on this one. Okay, this next one to be bushed is the fourth wheel, and steady there. This one is that one that had the gob of solder on it, so we're going to drill that out and replace that one. We're going to do this escape wheel next. It's pretty floppy. Floppy and sloppy. That's definitely got to be done, so we'll do that next. Okay, we've got both sides now of the escape wheel repivoted and rebushed, I mean, and looking good. Got good end, just nice, perfect end shake. No flopping there. No flopping there. That should run much better. Okay, we've got the run side done except for number one wheel, and it's back here. It's flopping pretty good, so we got to redo this. Okay, So here's our old piece, and here's the old piece, here's the new piece, and I'll put it in and get her going. Okay, it's now riveted in. All I gotta do is broach it out to fit the, okay, so we got that main wheel done, and it runs freely, so we're fine with that, no more flopping around. Okay, I'd say we're looking pretty good on the run side now. I mean, it just, things seem to operate very well. No more loose gears. Okay, run side looks good. Okay, clean these hands. I'm going to put a little bit of this on. It's called Super Blue. And we'll see how that works. And, instead of these things looking all rusty and everything, get some bluing back on them. See, almost turned black. Yeah, they'll look a lot better than those. Especially after I let them sit a bit and rinse them. They should look much better. Okay. here are all the parts ready to go back together. Strike side and run side and the plates. Alright, well, by putting these together, you need to understand what the levers do. Take this plate back off. Alright. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at how part of this goes together. Alright. This particular lever goes here, and it is lifted by this little cam that lifts this way. It does two things. There's a lift lever over here that lifts this other lever, and there's this little hook that moves in the way of the warning wheel and serves as the warning lever, and that goes there. This lever goes here, and it serves a couple of functions. First, got to go inside here. Okay. It's lifted by this lever, and this piece goes into the count wheel, and it can drop down when it goes into a deep slot on a count wheel. When it drops down into a deep slot, then this lever moves in front of the pin on the warning wheel and stops the strike. So that's how these two things have to be. Now, what allows this also to drop down? Why doesn't this? There's also this little lever, the lift lever, that runs on this thing. This is the cogs that lift the strike to make the sound, but there's a little notch here and a little notch here. And when this is to stop, two things have to be. One, the warning wheel lever or warning pin has to be against this lever, and this has to be such that this piece right here falls into one of those notches. So when you're putting this together, this notch has to be approximately up, and the warning pin has to be up, because if this doesn't fall into a notch, then this lever cannot fall into the deep slot of the count wheel. So it's important that those two levers and those two wheels be in that relative position. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start putting the wheels in here and getting this back together. This is the intermediate wheel for the center wheel, and it works like this. So this goes in here, and this goes in here, like so. That's your intermediate wheel. There we go. Okay, and we'll get the run side in, and we'll get the strike side in, and it's kind of tough to do on camera. We'll do the best we can. All right, we're going to have, let's see, here's our second wheel. Here's our second wheel that's going to go in here. And And we got to make sure that that's above things. Second wheel is going to be here for the strike side. And then the main wheel is this one. These are the notches for the count wheel. Okay. And let's drop that in. And the thing is that this gear has to go against that one. The count wheel has to be actually in front of it. We're going to drop that in. Oop, missed the spring. The spring over the top. Let's try again. Let's see. Hard to get this all done on camera. Let me get this out of the way. Try again. You know what? I don't like the fact. Well, I got them off of there. There's a slight ridge on that. I'm going to take this all apart and file that ridge off of there. Okay, we'll start again. Let's take the center post and the cannon and put those together. And that's going to go in here. And then our intermediate wheel is going to go in here. Okay. Go. Then we're going to, let's see, let's put the wheels in first. Okay, here's the, this one. Now that fits better. I'll ground that edge off of there. At least it goes on now. Like so. Okay, and we're going to put this one in over here. Okay. Okay. Now we just got to put wheels in. If we put in the let me turn this just a little bit. Okay, there we go. We'll put in the run side. Here's the second wheel for the run side. And that goes in here. And that's also the gear that runs the minute hand. And then the intermediate wheel goes to the hour. And now we've got a third wheel that goes in here. Alrighty, come on. Like so. And then we have we have another one somewhere. There he is. This one that goes in here. And then we have the escape wheel. It's going to go like this. Okay. And there's your run side. Now we'll wait and put the anchor in later. Alright, so now we got these, and maybe let's see if it'd be easier to put the wheels in first. This one goes here, second wheel. And the pivot. We might have trouble. I may have to put this back in. What we have is the I don't know. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Second wheel. And our third wheel is this one. And we need to have that one of those notches toward the top. Oh man, it's hard to see. Okay, there we go. That about there. Then we have the warning wheel, and that pin has to be near the top, like so. If I can find the hole. Where are we? Yeah. Should be here. Huh. Might have to put it in first, huh? There we go. Near the top, near the top, near the top. And then of course we have this one fan that goes in here, like so. All right, now we've got the levers that got to go in. Okay, this one is going to go so that it, well, let's put this one in first. This is the one that goes to the count wheel. This is the stop, goes against the warning wheel, and that's got to go here, under here, like so. And I got something wrong here. No, that's right. Yeah. This is the lift lever here. That's got to go underneath. That's got to go underneath. Oh, shoot. Yep, easier just to get these two out of here. This has got to go on this side. There we go, like so. Because this is the little lever that goes in the notch. And the other lever is the one that's going to be lifted. So this has to be below that so that it can lift that lever. And that's got to go in here. This is why a lot of this is usually done off camera, as it takes a while to get all this crap to work. Okay, let's see where we are. That's got to be up in that hole. And there, right there. Okay, lift lever is underneath. Okay, lift lever is underneath. Okay, now we can put the other two back in, maybe. And this one is going to go, that's got to go down there. This has got, oops, this is turned wrong. That's got to be turned that way, so it's in a notch. And this has got to be, we may have to make adjustments after it's put back together. That's got to be there. That's going to be the stop pin. Okay. And then we'll get this like so. And that's all that's got to go in there right now. And now the problem is getting all of those pivots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pivots in holes. so we can put the top on and everything works. Plus we have to install this as well, so let's just get this started. Okay. And I will be back just as soon as because I'm going to be working in front of the camera, and I don't want to have to edit out any expletives. But I'm going to work all those pivots back in holes. Forgot one. Forgot the hammer. So the hammer is going to be lifted this way, and it goes in this top hole here. And this has to go up where those, where that tabbed wheel is, because that's what lifts the hammer. So the hammer is going to go in here, and it goes up in that hole. See if I get this all right now. Okay, the hammer's going to be underneath that, and that's going to be there, that's going to be about there. It looks like we're close. Okay. Alright, now okay, we got them all in, including the crutch. Now the only thing I have to do is get the springs pulled up so that these levers all work properly, and then we will make some adjustments to make sure that this stuff all works right. And let's get the springs in there. Okay, now we gotta get this set up over here, so I'm gonna wind see, this has gotta be to a notch. So we got to see where things are. So I'll just give it a wind or two so that it can run. And we'll see what happens when it gets to a notch. We're close. I don't want to wind it a lot because I may have to loosen the plates to get things put back together here. But we'll see where we are when we get to a notch. Alrighty, let's see what happens. Should be one more. This one should stop. Okay, it's not. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay. Okay, I feel something dragging, to tell you the truth. Let's pull this out just a tad. And okay, now let's see where we are. Okay. Let's see here. Let's bend this tab in just a tad. Okay, that might be a little too far. Come back just a tad. Okay. Oop, not far enough. Let's see, that's where we should be right there. Alright. Now we've got this in the slot, this in the slot, but our pin is too far away from that. So this has got to be rotated some. So I'm going to loosen that up and turn that some, but I've got to let this back down again. Okay, let's see what it does now. Now what? Okay. Okay, Now we can wind it up. We'll test everything out, and then we're going to hang it up to run for a while. Okay, it's going to run. We got oiled bearings, and then what I'm going to do is put the piece on that holds for the suspension spring, then we'll set this up to let it run. So let's get some oil. Let's see what I do with my oils. My oilers. I missed it. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Center one. Let's go back and make sure we got these done. Okay. I can put this back on. We'll go on the other side, oil the other side, and we'll be ready to put things together with hate this with that. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, oiled. And now we'll just set it up and see if we can't get it running. We'll put that other piece on. Yeah, what the heck. Might as well leave it here. Flip this over. Set it here. Yeah, oh, we still have to hook up the spring to the hammer. Okay. Okay, got this back on. Had a problem because this was all loose on there, so I had to re-tighten all that. Now I can put the suspension spring in. We'll see if it runs. I take the suspension spring and we put it through here. We put it through the loops or through the slot. And maybe, wow, those are really tight. You have to open those back up a little bit. Just take a razor knife, stick it in the slot, spread it apart a little. Stick it in that one, spread it apart a little. Now let's see what we got here. Okay, there we go. It pulls down. Then you can take, squeeze them back together just a little. Okay, not too much because this one needs to be able to slide up and down. Alright, let's see if we can get her running. Okay, so I got myself a little beat amplifier. Gotta go back that way just a tad. There we go. it's running. Alrighty. A little noisy with the amplification, but it's working. So just have to hook it up permanently onto a test stand. See if it runs, see if it keeps time. And we've got to work on the case.